Bain Co says it's ashamed of the consultancy firm's role in destabilising South Africa's tax agency. It's after the country's most senior treasury officials called for companies to stop doing business with the firm. Well, for more on that apology, we're joined by OUTA's Chief Legal Officer, Stefanie Fick. Stefanie, good evening. Thanks for your time. Looking at that apology published by Bain Co in some of the leading newspapers on a Sunday, of course, I'm going to reference out of the apology published in the City Press specifically. They acknowledge that they made serious mistakes at SARS and really seem to be asking for a second chance, that, you know, this narrative that they haven't done anything to make right what they did wrong, that's a false narrative. What did you make of that apology?
Well, I think a lot of people will agree it's a step in the right direction. I think the only question we have on our minds is that enough? If you really look at the damage that was caused, and I think South Africa is going to suffer for a very long time because of what happened in state capture, and specifically what happened at SARS. I wonder if you ask, you know, someone like Johan van Lochenberg and Ivan Pillay and all of those guys, you know, if an apology is necessarily enough, and what Bain & Company has done, whether that is enough. So yes, I think one can agree it's a step in the right direction, but is it enough?
The reality is that the organization seems to be doing this out of public pressure that has stemmed out of the decision in the UK to not do work with Bain & Co for the next 3 years. And of course, then following on calls for South African businesses to do the same, given the fact that this is the country where the damage Bain did was felt across the board.
Yeah, exactly. I think one can, you know, it resonates. I think it resonates with a lot of South Africans that, you know, somewhere there needs to be accountability. And one feels that there's, you know, sometimes there's accountability, like you've stated, because there's some pressures. And why not do this out of your own fruition? But, you know, what I think we are all feeling is that there should be more accountability. Mm-hmm. And what happened to the guys that were responsible? You know, were they just, did they just leave? Did they just resign? Were they fired? Are they being held responsibly criminally for what they've done? And it's all these types of questions. But yes, again, apologizing is a step in the right direction. But I think we've come a long way. Yes, we do need to grow our economy in South Africa. I don't think that we can sit back and say that, you know what, we do not have to do business. We do need economic growth. But do we need this type of economic growth? So there is, if there was enough pressure in the UK to say no, you know, we're going to stand our ground and say no, then why can't South Africa? Where, as you stated, this is the battleground. This is where it happened.
You know, you talk about what happened to the employees that were involved, and Athol Williams, of course, one of those that has been really at the forefront of pushing for greater action against a company like Bain, has said, well, all they've done is shift a couple of the executives around, not really held specific individuals accountable. In the statement, they list only 2 people who they describe as having been junior staff being directly involved with Bain's work at SARS. And so, if anything, Bain would like us to believe that it was just these 2 individuals that were basically the bad guys.
And I don't know, you know, you know, it's not about believing. It's about, you know, it just doesn't make sense. I think if you pull off that type of pure destruction, can we be honest that I think it was pure destruction of so many people's lives at SARS, and that they really made sure that SARS was non-functional. I think SARS has come a long way. But I think that there's still a lot of work to be done. And who is being held accountable? And I think sometimes apologizing, but there's always this but. And is that really an apology? You know, a heartfelt apology is saying, I'm sorry. And we will do what is necessary and hold to account the people that is responsible. Whether only 2 junior people, you know, can pull this type of thing off, I doubt it. And then there's something wrong with the company's governance, in all honesty. But you know what, is this all, you know, is again, the question is, if we look at, for example, Athol Williams, there's so many. I don't want to, you know, name everybody, because I think we will not name everybody whose lives were destroyed by what happened at SARS. And I don't think that this is enough. And I honestly do not think that Bain can think it's enough.
So Stefanie, I want us to look at what Stephen York then also, who's the managing partner for Bain South Africa, also says in this apology. He says, we want to improve our standing in this country. We're prepared to have tough conversations, but we would also like to get back to the work of helping the South African economy grow. Do they deserve a second chance?
It's always, you know, that's a tough question, because I think it depends on the circumstances. That sometimes, yes. I think it's like, does South Africa deserve a second chance? You know, can we turn the ship around? And of course, I think, you know, there's some good people doing good work, and that, yes, we can grow our economy, and I think we can work towards eradicating corruption. I think corruption is really the illness that is destroying so many lives. I think we've seen it's really about our economic growth, and I don't think we always realize how deep the effects of corruption goes. But that being said, you know, if you ask me, does someone deserve a second chance? I think I have to say yes. But in these circumstances, under what circumstances do people deserve a second chance? And I think it really is, you know, that person or company that is really sorry for what is done. Not just sorry because they moved the executive and they moved, not executive, a junior person. They just moved the people out of the way, and they continue. I do not know whether we've seen real remorse. I think it is about remorse, not just remorse for being caught out, because that's something different. Real remorse. And how are you going to assist the economy? And then, but I think first and foremost is, how are you, you know, by wanting to do your job in South Africa, going to make right the wrongs that happened in the past? And I'm not sure that we've seen the plan. So again, in a nutshell, I think it is good. It is good for them to say that they want to grow the economy of South Africa. I just think that there should be some accountability, and maybe they can do that in future.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. OUTA's Chief Legal Officer, Stefanie Fick.